Residential Report Writing and Case Studies, Chapter 4, URAR, page 4, Assumptions and Limiting Conditions. Statement of Assumptions and Limiting Conditions. The appraiser's certification in this report is subject to the following assumptions and limiting conditions. 1. The appraiser will not be responsible for matters of a legal nature that affect either the property being appraised or the title to it, except for information that he or she became aware of during the research involved in performing this appraisal. The appraiser assumes that the title is good and marketable and will not render any opinions about the title. 2. The appraiser has provided a sketch in this appraisal report to show the approximate dimensions of the improvements. The sketch is included only to assist the reader in visualizing the property and understanding the appraiser's determination of its size. 3. The appraiser has examined the available flood maps that are provided by the Federal Emergency Management Agency or other data sources and has noted in this appraisal report whether any portion of the subject site is located in an identified special flood hazard area. Because the appraiser is not a surveyor, he or she makes no guarantees, express or implied, regarding this determination. 4. The appraiser will not give testimony or appear in court because he or she made an appraisal of the property in question, unless specific arrangements to do so have been made beforehand or as otherwise required by law. 5. The appraiser has noted in this appraisal report any adverse conditions such as needed repairs, deterioration, the presence of hazardous waste, toxic substances, etc., observed during the inspection of the subject property or that he or she became aware of. During the research involved performing this appraisal, unless otherwise stated in the appraisal report, the appraiser has no knowledge of any hidden or unapparent physical deficiencies or adverse conditions of the property, such as, but not limited to, needed repairs, deterioration, the presence of hazardous waste, toxic substances, adverse environmental conditions, etc., that would make the property less valuable, and has assumed that there are no such conditions and makes no guarantees or warranties, express or implied. The appraiser will not be responsible for any such conditions that do exist or for any engineering or testing that might be required to discover whether such conditions exist, because the appraiser is not an expert in the field of environmental hazards. This appraisal report must not be considered as an environmental assessment of the property. 6. The appraiser has based his or her appraisal report and valuation conclusion for an appraisal that is subject to satisfactory completion, repairs, or alterations on the assumption that the completion, repairs, or alterations of the subject property will be performed in a professional manner. There are 6 pre-printed assumptions and limiting conditions included for the appraiser's benefit. There may be no deletions, alterations, or additions to these assumptions and limiting conditions. The assumptions and limiting conditions are paraphrased below. 1. Appraiser is not responsible for matters of a legal nature. Appraiser assumes the title is good and will not render any opinions about the title. 2. Appraiser has provided a sketch with approximate dimensions of the improvements. Appraiser indicated the size of the improvements. 3. Appraiser has examined available flood maps and has identified any portion of the property in a special flood hazard area, SFHA. Appraiser makes no guarantees regarding this information. The information is assumed to be from a reliable source. 4. Appraiser will not give testimony or appear in court because of the appraisal unless prior arrangements have been made or as otherwise required by law. 5. Appraiser has noted any observable adverse conditions or conditions that he or she became aware of during the performance of the appraisal. Appraiser is not an expert in the field of environmental hazards. Appraisal report not to be considered an environmental assessment of the property. 6. If appraisal report was subject to satisfactory completion, repairs, or alterations, the assumption is made that such completion, repairs, or alterations will be accomplished in a professional manner. End of page.